Myanmar drone strike. Post Operation Sindoor, is India transiting from a policy of retaliation to one of preemption? Is the new Indian security doctrine not to wait to be hit, not to wait for Pakistan or the insurgents from Myanmar to hit at our targets and then respond, but are we now heading towards preemption? I think we won't have very long to find out. In fact, the drone strike that has happened in Myanmar yesterday in the Saging province, where the combined camps of the ULFA independent, the NSCN Khaplang group and the PLA People's Liberation Army of Manipur have been hit by 100 drones. I shall talk of that in detail, but I think it is important to understand the backdrop of what is happening. As we are all aware, in 2003, the Alpha, which had been hunted out from India by the Indian Army, had taken shelter in Bhutan. They had established a number of camps and they were operating from there. The Royal Bhutan Army then launched a major operation to drive out the Alpha from its soil. This operation was led by the then king himself, very brave. He personally led this operation, and every single Alpha insurgent was thrown out of Bhutan and their camps were decimated and destroyed. The ULFA then tried to escape and tried to seek shelter in the Chittagong hill tracts of Bangladesh. And quite obviously, the then government of Madam Zia, was in cahoots with the ISI, and they laid out a red carpet welcome for Raj Khoa and his Alpha, right? Then came the government of Hasina Wajid, who was very supportive of India's national security interests, and she, with the under the advice of India, cracked down hard on the Alpha and other insurgent groups that were operating from Bangladesh. Raj Khoa and the others, they surrendered, and there were peace talks with the Alpha, and that group was then integrated with India. However, Paresh Barua, one of his deputies, he fled to Yunnan and he refused to have part in any peace deal with India, and he formed the Alpha Independent, which is now operating in the Saging province of Myanmar. This is near the Pegu Pass, over which the so-called Mandalay Road, very famous in World War II. The Mandalay Road past Mandalay, that used to pass. Next to that pass is the Saging province above the Chin areas, and it is there that there are a number of the camps of the Alpha Independent, the NSCN, National Socialist Council of Nagaland, Khaplang group. The I group, as we are aware, is in talks with India and has decided to come over ground, surrender their weapons, etc. But also the PLA. So these are the three groups. And whenever there are hostile groups, the China makes outreach to them. Any groups hostile to India, they are being supplied weapons from Yunnan by the fantastic grey market that China has established for its old AK-47s and other weapons, and it is trying to make money by selling them to every kind of insurgent. And they are now using these insurgent groups as civilian contractors to provide protection to their Myanmar Sitwe, the Yunnan Sitwe, the so-called economic corridor, China-Myanmar economic corridor, which goes from Yunnan to Sitwe and was being attacked frequently by the insurgents of all hues. So they have hired they are paying these people, these insurgents, to protect their highway, which runs from, like I said, from Yunnan to the Sittwe port on the Myanmar coastline. But recently, they have taken to try and also, encourage these groups to attack targets in India, encourage them to revive insurgency in the northeast. Now, as part of this very larger program, we found a lot of cooperation taking place between China, between Pakistan and the ISI, and Bangladesh. As long as Hasina Wajed was in charge in Bangladesh, the Bangladesh chapter was fully closed. But then the CIA, with the help of the ISI, staged the coup in Bangladesh, deposed Hasina Wajed, forced her to flee to India, and then Muhammad Yunus, the darling of the Democrats in the United States, was parachuted into Dhaka to take charge with a set mandate to turn Bangladesh into a base for hostile operations against India. And Bangladesh was now willing to rent out its territory to any intelligence agency, CIA, ISI, what have you, the Chinese, to operate against India, and was openly talking of, choking the Siliguri corridor, trying to create mayhem in the 7 northeastern states. And there is a strange alchemy between the Chinese, the Bangladeshis and Pakistan. A few days back, we found that China, Pakistan, Bangladesh had gotten together to create some kind of a South Asia forum, as kind of a second SARC, which would be under China's control and manipulation. Then came the news that Paresh Barua had come to Dhaka. Paresh Barua is now in Dhaka. He has come away from Yunnan. The Chinese have, superbly cooperated with the Pakistan-Bangladesh axis, China-Pakistan-Bangladesh axis, to fly back Paresh Barua to start operations against India. And then we had news of, a shipload of weapons from Pakistan coming to Chittagong harbour and going straight in trucks. The weapons were sent to the Chittagong hill tracts. Don't forget, an earlier such shipment in Hasina Wajed's time had been intercepted, and the entire truckload of weapons had been seized by Bangladesh. Now they were facilitating this movement. They are trying to create a Rohingya corridor, Rohingya relief corridor, which is supposed to be a conduit for providing American CIA weaponry, ISI support to the Rohingyas, and also they are trying to reach out to the Arakan National Army, which has been very hostile to them, which has been attacking and has captured the entire Bangladesh-Myanmar border in that area, Rakhine area. So the simple fact is that we had the news of Paresh Barua coming there, we had the news of arms shipment, and then came the latest news, the 3 Pakistani brigadiers in the guise of Army Medical Corps officers now were visiting Bangladesh, and the Chittagong hill tracts was part of their itinerary. Something was definitely cooking in Bangladesh and in the Seging province of Myanmar, right? And the Ulfa under Paresh Barua was seriously part of the Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Chinese joint plans to revive insurgency movements in India. And they were cultivating drugs and sending across drugs to Manipur and to Mizoram to try and create mayhem, try and revive the insurgency in Nagaland, in Manipur, very, very aggressively. And the Alpha was wanting to revive insurgency in Assam itself. So was India to wait till it was hit? Were we to, sit down with folded hands and wait for these people to strike? I don't think so. And from the reports that are coming from Myanmar, the exact opposite has happened. I reiterate As per the insurgents of the Alpha Independent, Ulfa I, last night there were 100 swarm of drones, French-made drones, possibly Israeli drones, which were used to hit the two terror camps, massive terror camps in the Seging province, just below the Mandalay Road, the traditional, camping area of the northeast insurgents. They were hit in the morning between 0130 to 0200 hours, and it is believed that 3 top leaders of the Alpha were killed. They were self-styled Lieutenant General, the boss of the Eastern Command of the Alpha, Lieutenant General Nayan Ahom, and along with 2 other of his friends, Parvez and another very senior functionary of the Alpha were killed, as admitted by the Alpha Independent Organization. As they were carrying out their funeral at 0430 hours in the morning yesterday, when a second wave of drone strikes hit them. Quite obviously, there were some loitering munitions which were circling over the area, and they noticed the gathering and they hit again. And this time it is claimed that about 20 to 30 insurgents, including 3 top commanders, are now dead, and about another 19 to 20 have been wounded, have been seriously hit in these 2 waves of drone terror strikes. So who did it? The Indian Army has denied, the Assam Rifles have denied that they have anything to do with such an operation. Quite obviously, if such an operation is to be conducted, there will have to be deniability. And maybe that is what we are seeing. But the message is loud and clear. Don't mess with us. We will not wait to be hit. We will preempt and retaliate even before you can think of launching your operations. The insurgent groups have been placed on notice. They are not safe anywhere, not in Myanmar, not in Bangladesh, nor in Pakistan. Nowhere on earth will these groups be safe from India's retribution and wrath.